The courtroom is heavy with silence, each second dragging on as the soft hum of the overhead lights fills the room. The air carries the scent of old paper, faint coffee from the break room, and the polished wood of the courtroom furniture, all familiar smells that signal the start of another case. The fluorescent lights flicker softly above, casting long shadows over the marble floors that have seen countless defendants pass through. Judge Caprio enters with a calm but confident presence, his robe sweeping the floor as he takes his seat. His gaze briefly sweeps across the room, the usual faces of court staff and a handful of spectators filling the space. But today, something feels different. The defendant, a man in his mid-30s, shuffles nervously to the front of the courtroom. His clothes are worn and threadbare, the edges of his shirt frayed, and his shoes show signs of age. His face, once youthful and strong, now carries the weight of too many sleepless nights. Dark circles under his eyes tell the story of someone who has been grinding day by day, just trying to survive. His shoulders are slightly hunched, his hands fidgeting in his lap. He looks like a man carrying the weight of his world, and it's all on display today. Judge Caprio, with his sharp eyes and unyielding calm, recognizes the familiar look in the man's eyes, the look of someone who is not here for the usual reasons. This man, Mr. Davis, is not just a defendant. He's a father, a struggling man doing everything he can to provide for his family. "Good morning, Mr. Davis," Judge Caprio says, his voice carrying warmth, but also the weight of authority. He scans the room and waits for the defendant's response. Mr. Davis meets the judge's gaze, his eyes filled with nervous energy. "Yes, Your Honor. I'm ready to make things right." The courtroom stills. There is no anger, no defiance in the air, just quiet tension as everyone waits for the story behind the man's struggles to unfold. The bailiff steps forward, presenting the case file to Judge Caprio, who flips through the papers with practiced ease. The charges are clear: driving without a license, unpaid fines, and expired tags. A series of minor violations that, on their own, seem insignificant. But for Mr. Davis, they represent much more, a cascade of financial and personal struggles that have left him cornered. "Mr. Davis," Judge Caprio begins, his voice steady as he looks down at the file, "you've been charged with driving without a license, and your fines have gone unpaid. Your vehicle registration is expired. These aren't trivial offenses." Mr. Davis takes a deep breath, his hands gripping the edge of the defendant's table. His voice cracks slightly as he speaks, weighed down by both his words and the burden of his situation. "I know, Your Honor. I know I'm wrong, but I had no choice. I haven't had a license in years. I couldn't afford the insurance, the fees. But my kids were hungry and I had to keep working. I had to drive to work to feed them. I didn't know what else to do." The room is quiet. The audience listens, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats. There's no dramatic outburst, no judgment from the crowd, just the sense that the law and the reality of life are colliding in a way that is impossible to ignore. Judge Caprio leans forward, studying Mr. Davis with a steady, unyielding gaze. "How long has this been going on, Mr. Davis?" "6 months now, Your Honor. I lost my job at the factory and couldn't find another. I've been doing odd jobs, but the bills keep piling up. I couldn't afford to pay the fines. I just couldn't stop driving. I had no choice." The contrast is stark. The law demands consequences, but the man standing before the judge is a father desperate to provide for his children. The weight of his decisions hangs heavily in the room. Judge Caprio's eyes soften as he listens to Mr. Davis's words. The usual courtroom tension gives way to a quiet moment, one where humanity becomes the center of attention. There's a shift in the air. It's no longer about the law's cold application, but about the real, raw struggle of a man trying to survive. Mr. Davis speaks again, his voice trembling slightly. "I didn't want to get into trouble. I didn't want to break the law. But if I didn't drive, I couldn't work. If I couldn't work, I couldn't feed my kids. I didn't know what else to do. I know it was wrong, but I did it because I had no choice." The courtroom seems to hold its breath. The truth is out in the open now. The pain, the guilt, the desperation. There's a quiet honesty in Mr. Davis's words, something raw and unpolished, but deeply human. The judge listens without interruption, allowing the weight of the moment to settle in. After a pause, Judge Caprio leans forward again, his tone softer. I hear the struggle in your voice, Mr. Davis. I see the truth in your words. The law doesn't always account for these kinds of situations. But you've told me what's in your heart. That means something. The room is still, the murmurs from the audience replaced by a silence that carries the weight of empathy and understanding. Judge Caprio's gaze is unwavering as he considers Mr. Davis. The usual process of legal procedure has faded into the background. This moment is about something deeper, something more profound than just the letter of the law. You've made mistakes, Mr. Davis. I don't deny that. Judge Caprio begins, his voice steady but filled with respect. But you're here today, telling the truth, accepting responsibility for your actions. And that's what matters. The room is tense with anticipation. The judge continues, his voice clear and firm. I'm going to reduce your fines and I'm not going to suspend your license today, but I will give you a chance to make things right. You will pay the fines in installments, and you will begin the process of getting your license back. This is your second chance. You need to take it. A wave of relief washes over Mr. Davis's face. His eyes widen, his chest rising and falling with each breath. The weight of the moment lifts off his shoulders, replaced by a sense of hope. Hope that he can turn things around, that his family can have a chance at a better future. Thank you, Your Honor, Mr. Davis whispers, his voice thick with emotion. I won't let you down. Judge Caprio nods, a small but approving smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Make it count. For your family. As Mr. Davis exits the courtroom, the narrator's voice enters, reflective and somber. Survival isn't just about scraping by. It's about finding a way to rise, even when the weight of the world presses down on you. In a world full of rules, sometimes we forget to see the people behind the actions. The camera lingers on Judge Caprio, his gaze following Mr. Davis as he walks out. The usual hum of the courtroom returns, but today feels different. The air is filled with quiet recognition, the kind that only comes when humanity and justice meet. The narrator continues, everyone has a story, and sometimes survival means more than just following the law. It means understanding that sometimes we all need help standing tall again.